You are listening to The Winningest with Adam Wins. Intelligent information from those that have achieved the highest levels of success to become the winningest in wellness and wealth, bringing you the winningest from around the globe to help you get to the highest levels of winning to become the winningest in everything you do, leading the way to the winningest to get you the winningest levels in your wellness and wealth. Winningest with Adam Wins.
Let's go win. Welcome. This is The Winningest. I am Adam Wins. I am here with a special guest today, the master extraordinaire of the podcast arena, Zachary Babcock. Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's up, Adam, man? I appreciate you having me, man.
Hey, it's great to be here. You want to tell us a little bit about Underdog and what it is that really, well, maybe we can go back a little bit. Let's start with, because really right now you're on fire. You're one of those guys. You're on every single podcast. You're with Grant Cardone. You're with, tons of big time players. You're just out there doing it, getting it. You really went from the bottom to the top, right? So you have an amazing story of where you went from basically the lowest point you could possibly be to up there with guys who are, rocking the world, filling up stadiums. Tell us a little bit about that and how you did it.
Man, I really appreciate that. It's so crazy hearing that, man, because every time I hear it, it's like, damn, I had to think like just 5 years ago I was sitting in prison, right? And then now we're here. So it's definitely grateful and really excited about it. But yeah, man, I just to give you the high level overview, Cliff Notes version of it.
Yep.
I just was a knucklehead growing up. I did things to try to be accepted by other people that didn't fit with my character and my integrity or whatnot.
Yep.
And made a bunch of poor decisions.
Nothing wrong with that. It happens.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I ended up doing some prison time for being a knucklehead, being an idiot. And that really wasn't enough. I did 4 years on a 7-year sentence, got out. And then I went back to prison, long story short, for being an idiot again and just being an alcoholic. And I went back just 20 days before my twin sons were born. And Adam, that was it for me, man. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. And ever since that moment, just been moving in another direction.
So you brought up a really good point. I've got a new book coming out called The Winningest. It's really a rule book of, let's say, how to succeed. And interviewing a lot of successful people like yourself, I found the one key thing is that with alcohol, it's called going out and getting wasted for a reason, right? I mean, nobody ever went out and, I got super rich. I got a new Porsche because I went out and got drunk. The things, usually it's only bad things. I got arrested. I went to jail. I got in a bar fight. And I always tell my kids, look, you can't get in a bar fight if you're not in a bar. You can't get in a DUI if you're not drinking. It's impossible. So have you stopped with the alcohol? Is that what you found to be, like, let's say, your nemesis or your kryptonite?
No, actually, to be honest with you, I just had a couple glasses of wine this past Saturday at a wedding. Now, I will say this, though. I rarely ever drink just because I don't have the urge to do it, and I don't really get excited about it. I found my creative outlet, and it's crazy because I've been trying to put my finger on this for the longest time, but I read it in Robert Greene's. Do you read Robert Greene at all?
I don't.
Books?
Yeah,
okay.
I haven't.
No worries. He has like 6 books on like human psychology and human nature and whatnot. But anyways, one of my favorite authors. In one of his books, so he says, people only do drugs or only put themselves in risky situations or play dangerous sports or whatever because they feel like they're just going through the motions in life. And that was it. And that explained me to the T, right? And he said, so many people never get past that because they never find that creative outlet to express themselves. But once they find that, doing drugs and all this shit is no longer appealing to them. And I was like, that's it for me. Cause like, dude, I was in AA my entire life from age 9 to right before I went to prison the last time. And that whole program never worked for me specifically just because I could never get down with the fact saying that I am powerless over my addiction. I'm like, no, dude, I got the power over everything, right? That's how my mindset is. But once I found my outlet, though, dude, I literally have no urge like to do any of that shit anymore. I love doing what I do now.
Nice. I like to think of it as there's 2 things in my book that once you find out who you are and what you want, which is your definitive purpose, right? So it's Napoleon Hill. I know you've read his book, Think and Grow Rich. Everybody has. It all comes back to that same thing of, who you are and what you want. So it's awesome that you actually found that. And yes, drugs or alcohol are made to change our brain chemistry. And nobody on the planet with a good definition of who they are would want to change who they are. So why would you take something in that would change who you are? Once you found out your purpose and who you are, you don't want to deter from that or change it a little bit. So always think to go all the way, straight edge with that drinking thing, because it won't get you it's never going to make you anything more than what you already are. So it's amazing you found that purpose. So tell me a little bit about that purpose. So what is the underdog purpose? What is it that drives you, your brand, everything you do?
Yeah, man. So it started off when I went back to prison that last time, just 20 days before my twin sons were born. It started off, I literally woke up, found out that I was going back, and literally my entire life I wanted to be in my kid's life because I didn't have a father figure. Dude, I remember, in football practice when I was a kid, seeing all my friends with their dads there at practice, and I used to wonder how that felt, and I couldn't wait for the day that I could do that again. So it started off negatively visualizing when I woke up, like, what's my life going to be like if I keep doing the same thing? And that pain of realizing that, hey, I'm going to be in and out of prison my entire life or end up dead and not in my kid's life was enough to get me running in the different direction. So it started off, my purpose was to be in my kid's life and be a responsible father, because that's what I wanted. Yeah. But now it's grown, and to, as life goes on and your mission expands and you get more clear on exactly what it is that you want to do and you find your footing, is what I like to say. But now, dude, my ultimate goal, and I don't want to give a long-winded answer, but is it okay if I kind of give a long-winded answer?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, okay, man.
All right, because I feel like this needs a little bit of a explanation.
Love to hear it.
All right, so I'm not making any excuse for anybody that goes to prison, because if you go to prison, that's your damn fault. You put yourself there, right?
Yes.
However, the system that we have is totally, it's ultimate failure. Our recidivism rate in the U.S. dwarfs any other country by far, and it's built on money. It's designed to keep you going into the system, and the resources that they provide, they don't help. It's giving you a fish, not teaching you to fish. Welfare, food stamps, assisted living, that's just giving you a fish. It's not teaching you any practical wisdom or practical action items that you can do to better your life. It teaches you to be dependent. And so, and having gone through these programs myself, I know it's a complete, utter waste of taxpayer dollars. It doesn't help. You can't relate to the people that are teaching it, and it takes away time that you could be spending trying to provide for yourself and your family anyways. So long story short, I just started doing this in my business because I'm really early on in the game. Like, I just broke 6 figures in October of 2019. At the time of this recording, we're in March 2020. Nice. So I'm and I will always have so much to learn, but I'm in the process now of building an actual organization, a real business, and freeing up that time or whatnot. Really it's completely different versus trying to get your business off the ground, being a one-man band, versus now you're actually building a machine here. But anyways, long story short though, man, we just started hiring convicted felons, not all, but guys and gals that are like myself that learn from their mistakes and are ready to move forward. We're giving them a job because it's nearly impossible to get a job coming out of prison. You did it to yourself, but let's just face it, it's a reality. You can't get a job as a convicted felon hardly anywhere. There is some places that do. So we give them a job. It feeds them and their families, but also they have to go through specific books and programs that we outline right now. The book that they have to read, it is a must, is A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Completely transformational. Nice. And then so for the guys and gals that are cut out to be entrepreneurs, they won't have to work for us or other companies that we get them matched up with for long. They'll be able to go out and do their own thing eventually. And for the guys and gals that are not cut out to be entrepreneurs, they can continue working for us or the other entrepreneurs that we get them matched up with, doing things that they love, having an awesome job, being able to provide for their family. And so the ultimate goal that drives me is a 9% recidivism rate nationwide, which is a crazy, ridiculous goal if you look at the numbers, but that's our goal and we're sticking to it.
Hey, that's very admirable. You're a living testament to what it is. You're amazingly valuable to so many people. And obviously the system is designed to take away that value. Yep. Everything, whether it's religion, whether it's government, whether it's even the modern education system, is designed to separate ourselves from our power. And our real power is with, the creator, and we're all a part of that. So we all have the potential to be whatever it is we want to be. It's all those other people that tell us that we can't be. So it's great to hear your voice. It's great that you're an example that really sets out that you can be all these things. With like 50% of the Black population ends up in the prison system. I think it's one in 5 or 1 in 3 adults in their lifetime have some type of negative experience with this. It's amazing if you can find the solution to this problem. I think it's, A, education, and B, probably people having some type of awakening like you've had, to where, it's not over for me. I realized that the alcohol, I'm a good person. It's the alcohol that made me do something stupid, or maybe the drugs that made me do something stupid. And yes, I take responsibility. I did those things, but that's not me. You're never, your past is not you. What you are right now is who you're sitting there right now, who you say you are, and who you are, and the things you're working on to be. You're not all those things of the past that everybody says to you. So how do you stay strong when they would say, oh, this guy did this, and this guy, oh, he was so bad? How do you block all that past, stay so focused moving forward for all the people that you're trying to help?
Man, I really believe that it comes down to getting crystal clear on exactly what it is that you want out of life.
Oh, yeah.
And if you ask so many people, they'll start naming off all the things that they don't want, but they can't tell you exactly what it is that they do want. So getting really, get real crystal clear on exactly what it is you want. And then the most important thing is to have strong enough reasons why you got to get it. Like, dude, when I woke up in prison, missing my twin son's birth, I knew exactly that I wanted to be in their life, and I wanted to be a responsible father, and I wanted to be happy and successful. Even though I didn't know what happy and successful looked like at that point in time, I knew at that time I was like, I just want to be home and be able to provide for them, to be in their lives every single day. I didn't know how I was going to make all that happen. I didn't know how I was even going to get a job. I didn't even know when I was coming home from prison at that point.
Right. Everything's out of your control.
Right. But I knew the reasons why I wanted to do it were stronger than anything.
Yep.
And that's what got me there.
Up here is what you got control of.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of what we've all been given, is this huge, immense power to do anything. And I have to give you a huge, big hug or thank you or whatever it is, because you empower so many people who have been told they can't do, they're not enough, they're never going to make it, they can't do this. And your underdog represents all of those people that they say that you can't. And then you're at the table with Grant Cardone. You're at the table with Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins' partner, of where they say you couldn't do those things, and you went and proved everybody wrong and did it. So you're the example. And I think the rule of how everybody's life should flow and follow. I mean, everybody's made mistakes in their life, some graver than others. Some are, victimless. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, forget about that kind of stuff. So what is the real thing that made you, let's say, the winningest in this podcast scene? Because you are really crushing it. You are really winning it. You went from prison to jail cells to really just crushing it. How do you stay positive? How do you stay motivated every day? I know you got your family and your why and all those things. What kind of exercises do you do daily? I see you work out. You're like me. You're like health and wealth and getting the business going, getting the health going. I know health is number one. You're real on the health kick, which is amazing, again, for the example. But what is it for the health up here? Because that's the main thing, because you're a really great guy. Your heart is awesome. You love your kids. You love your family. You're a good guy. What led you to have that prison sentence, in my opinion, of course you have your own opinion of it, was just something, let's say, there was some pain, or you didn't know how to deal with some emotion and you dealt with it in the wrong way. You didn't have the right proper teachers and the right proper way of handling the situation, because intrinsically you're good. How did you, let's say, overcome all that up here mentally with mental health? Because it's really hard. I mean, a lot of people that are in the jail system or in the prison system are there only because, like, they lacked a father, or they lacked, the proper teachers and guidance in their life. And they followed the guy on the block. So they joined a gang, and then they shot people because that's what they thought they were supposed to do. Those kind of things. How do you, I mean, other than leading by example, which is awesome, what kind of things can other people do to keep your strong mental toughness? Because I see that as your driving force, and your immense power comes from up here. And how do you stay strong with that? Is it daily exercises you do? What do you do?
Man, there's a lot of things that go into that, but to break it down to the like foundational pieces of it. So
Yeah.
after, for me, this is what I did. And this is, I know there's other ways of doing it, but I can only talk on what I've actually done. But after getting clear on exactly what it is that I wanted and developing those strong enough reasons, like that's the foundation for it. And then using that underdog mentality, man. So like for me, I'm a really competitive person. Like the thought of second place makes me want to bash my face into a brick wall. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to, the winningness, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to win.
Exactly.
And so I use that underdog mentality, even like, all right. So when I was just starting out, it was like, anytime I tried to collaborate with anybody, nobody gave me the time of day. I was just the ex-convict turned entrepreneur afterthought that nobody gave the time of day to. And so that pissed me off. And I was like, dude, I'm going to go out and prove them wrong, dude. Like, no, like I don't care that you're making these snap judgments about me and trying to keep me into this box. I'm not staying there, man. And so I use that as motivation, but then like, how do you keep that going once you start actually winning, Yeah. And so for me, Andy Frisella opened my eyes up to it. Cause when I interviewed him, I asked him about it. Yeah. And he said, man, he's like, proving wrong stuff. That stuff's cool stuff. And, I still do it from time, but he's like more than anything, it's about proving myself right now. It's like I'm in competition with myself because I done got so far ahead of the game and I did everything that they said I couldn't do. Now I'm continually raising the bar for my own self, raising the standard for my own self. And I'm in it against me. And he said, whenever I hold myself accountable to what I say I'm going to do, then I have more self-respect for myself and I build more confidence and I keep on, growing in that sense. And then another thing, man, that I've been working on, this has been hard for me, is I can't remember the exact term, but I heard it from Ed Milet. And I was like, man, he just beautifully explained it. But he was like, I call it joyfully dissatisfied. I can't remember the term that he called it, but I've been calling it joyfully dissatisfied. He said, because I got into this vicious cycle of I would get a win and then I wouldn't celebrate it and I'd be happy for all about 15 seconds. And I'm like, okay, what's next? And I was, it's in this vicious cycle of success where you're constantly winning, but you're not feeling fulfilled or happy or enjoying the process of it. And so he talks about the way he basically explained it, saying being joyful, happy, grateful for what you have right now and the wins and actually taking time to celebrate it, but being dissatisfied of where you're at. So you're happy in the process and you're celebrating and you're happy as you go, but you're constantly leveling up in the same time or whatnot. So that's been something that I've been working on a lot as well. But last thing real quick, and I won't give you these long-winded answers, but the main thing I've been focused on more than anything now is like what you mentioned is habits. And that, dude, like, I'm not going to say marketing is easy, but like that's easy compared to getting your habits dialed in. Like you get get them habits dialed in, man, you become unstoppable. And I recently read a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Best book I've read so far in 2020. It's pretty powerful stuff.
I'll check it out. I like that. That's really nice. Listen, I know you're short on time, and I want to really speak to those who are inspired by you, because you've got an amazing following of people at all levels across the board. People who haven't done podcasts before, starting to do podcasts. What is, like, let's say your number one, let's say the winningest thing you can do to be successful in podcasts? What is it? How do you get started? And what is it that's just number one that you got to do?
Yeah. All right. So there's 4 pillars that I focus on, is what I call the podcast penthouse mechanism. All right. It's a proven process that I've run through with all my clients and what I've done myself. I'm not just like preach. It's like stuff that I've done with my own podcast and then helped other people get the same results. And so these 4 pillars is 1, launching and actually getting your podcast ranked on Apple. That's the first. And I'll tell you exactly how to do it in just a moment. And then after that, the most important pillar is growing your downloads, because that feeds all the other pillars. And that's the most important thing. You got to get people listening to your show. And then the third pillar is what I call celebrity podcasting, where you're interviewing like the Grant Cardones, Andy Frisellas, all that stuff. And also becoming like that celebrity in your own sense in your marketplace. So now you're not just some expert like everybody else in the sea of idiots. You're positioning yourself above those people in your marketplace, and it makes selling your own shit 100 times easier. And then the fourth piece is monetizing a podcast, what I call big money podcasting. But out of all those, first and foremost, get it launched and get ranked. And how you do that, dude, it's super simple. Like everybody makes things to be, and that's the human nature. We try to overcomplicate things, but it's super, super simple. All it is you get people to leave a written review on your podcast, and you can get ranked. I say in 5 weeks or less, every single 58 clients that I've worked with personally, either in a one-on-one or group coaching format, has hit it in 48 hours or less. And then I've had plenty of other people that went through my course and hit it in 48 hours or less as well, with 100% success rate. And all you do is you get people to leave you reviews, and you communicate with them online the same way you would do offline. Which I mean by that is, instead of just hitting people up in their message like, hey, I got a podcast, can you go subscribe, blah, 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 and shove a link down their throat. Like if you and me like knew each other from high school, but we didn't really talk to each other, but we're at a party, right? And I come up to you and I'm like, Adam, hey man, I got a podcast, go subscribe. Here's a link, boom, boom, boom. You probably punch me in the face because I'm not having a respectful conversation with you.
Let's have coffee before we get married.
Yeah, dude, exactly, man. So you literally just hit people up like, hey man, I got a huge favor to ask. Wait for them to respond. Yeah, what's up? Hey man, can you subscribe to my podcast and leave a 5-star review if I send you the link? Now I gave you 2 opportunities to either not answer me or say no or say yes. And then most people are like, yeah, sure, no problem. What's the link or whatever? Hey, and then you say, thank you. I appreciate you taking time to do this. Here's the link. You get some people who are like, I don't know how to do that. And you got to explain, or they have an Android and they can't leave a review. And that's just part of the game. You got to put in the sweat equity. Nothing's going to happen for free or magical pill. You got to actually do the work. But you do that, and it will literally happen, bro. And then once you get it ranked, then you can use that to leverage, hey, I want to have you on my top rated podcast. You want to come on the show. You're a perfect fit for my show. It just sounds better when you say you want to come on my top rated podcast. It also gets people excited about your podcast. It also gets you ranked to where more people discover you on Apple and so on. It's the first foundational piece blown up. And sorry for the long-winded answer, bro.
No, that's beautiful nuggets. I am a client of yours. I bought your course. I recommend everybody to buy Mr. Babcock's course. It is absolutely fantastic if you've not done a podcast. And even if you're not even in the podcast space, let's say you're just going out to do YouTube content, or whatever it is, just get a little more known in the marketplace and improve your marketing. This course is really the bee's knees. You got to get it. How do we get in touch with you? Where do we find the course? Can people still get in? I know I got in on some special thing. You're going to close that down. What's going on over at Underdog right now? How are you helping people, and what's the program you got for everybody?
Yeah, man. Dude, I appreciate that. Right on. Go to underdogempowerment.com/winningness. Same way you spell this podcast. And I got a special page set up for you guys, and it's my lead magnet, which you'll receive emails from me, and I'm going to educate you. It gives you my podcast roadmap, which literally shows you step by step everything you need to do to get your podcast up and running on all the directories, complete with video tutorials, everything you need to know, even if you have no idea on how to do anything with podcasting. I give you every single step of the way in a checklist format. It's this, do this. And then in the emails, I educate you further. And then on like the 5th or 4th email, there's an opportunity for you to actually get the course and the paid program part of it. You guys can check that out once again at underdogempowerment.com/winningness. And then if you just want to check out the podcast, obviously I'm super passionate about that. You guys go to Underdog. And that's
it's a great podcast. Yeah. Where do we watch it?
Right on. Underdogempowerment.com. Right there on the homepage. You can scroll down for a little bit. There's a podcast section, and there's a red button that says subscribe. You can subscribe on any platform that you enjoyed on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher. Hope to see you guys over there. And thanks for asking, Adam.
So, Zach, being the winningest, I would say you are the winningest podcast right now as far as who's really coming up to the top levels. How are we going to leave this? So what is your final thought here? What's the winningest thought for those at home right now?
The winningest thought for those at home right now. Man, that's okay. You put me on the spot there.
Absolutely.
Are you just talking about just winning at life regardless?
Yeah, like, listen, you've got a great mentality from going from the bottom to the top. And we all know that it takes definition of who you are, of what you want. You know, you're the podcast, let's say, king at the moment. You're really winning it in podcasts. So maybe it's just as much as, it's just a matter of doing it. It's not that hard, because everybody gets a little afraid and they think, well, I can't be like that guy, or I can't do that. I can't have a show like that. I mean, I get traders all the time. I mean, I can't make those trades like you make those trades. We're something special. At the end of the day, the only difference between myself, yourself, and those who are just only watching is just the difference that we just do it.
Yep. Yeah, man. Okay, so you gave me a little context right there. Absolutely. All right, so here's the deal. Let's talk about podcasts specifically. I get it. I felt the same way. If that's how you're feeling, like, oh, I can't do it. This person won't come on my show. He's got millions of followers. Who am I? I'm just getting started, whatever. Dude, before the podcast, nobody gave me the time of day. I was literally the ex-convict turned entrepreneur afterthought that anytime I tried to collaborate with any entrepreneur, nobody wanted anything to do with me. Launched the podcast, got it ranked on day 3. The next week had Billie Jean's marketing on the show. And then it's just been a crazy, crazy growth. So in literally 1 week, I went from nobody wanting anything to do with me to interviewing celebrities in 1 week from the podcast. So what I would say is, like you said, just do it, because look, you're going to suck at first. Dude, if you go listen to my first episode, to me, I mean, a lot of people enjoy it because I go through this emotional roller coaster, go deep on the prison story, all this stuff. But if you listen to it and you listen to my 200th episode, you will see that I had this fake phone bitch voice. Like, I was like, I didn't know how to I put on like this voice. Like, anytime I got in front of the microphone, I thought I had to talk weird and different,
This is Zachary. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it was just, to me, when I listen to it, it makes me cringe compared to where I'm at now.
But everybody's like that, and you get the feeling of who you are. And again, you are who you are in the present today. So when you figure out who you are, you're constantly growing. And I'm this guy. I'm not that stuff I identify you by. And yeah, we all feel shame. We all feel like, I can't. Those things pop into your head. You got to get rid of those. And you're the best living example that I know of. Aside from like, Jesus isn't alive, but maybe some people think he is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody who went from, like, let's say, or Peter, who went from the bottom to the top to really be an aspiration to others, because they don't like this. People, like, the system doesn't like you coming out and saying, hey, I made it. I did it. I'm actually becoming what I want to be, and you can't tell me who I am. And that's the most amazing thing, because they give you a number when you go to prison, right? They tell you you're this number, 54631 or whatever it is.
1150996.
Oh man,
I'll never forget that. I can't. It's like, but yeah.
But you're not that guy, and that's the whole thing. I mean, you're a great father. You're an awesome orator now. You speak very well, and not in your real voice, and you're just genuinely who you are. And that's really what appeals to people. And that's really why, nobody likes fake stuff. I mean, nobody, and that's the best thing about your programs, your courses, everything, that it's the real deal. Anybody can do it if you just get in there and do it. And you're the greatest living example of, hey, let's say anybody can do it. I mean, aside from having no arms and no legs, you're like, you've done amazing. I mean, I'm really proud of you, and it's a blessing and a pleasure to be able to know you. I'm Adam Wins. This is The Winningest with Zachary Babcock. The Winningest podcast, the winningest in life, and the winningest from starting as underdog and taking it all the way to the top. This guy's got it going on. Make sure you check him out. Again, Zach, where can we find you at?
Underdogempowerment.com. And dude, thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate it. Right back to you, my man.
Thank you. Have a great one.